The chaotic history of the horse game that took over the world. Umamusume Pretty Derby. I liked this video before even watching. What the hell? Let's take a look. Horse girls greater than cat girls. All right.
Meet Jiankui He, a Chinese scientist who had created a genetically modified baby, breaking every ethical law regarding genetic research and being sentenced to jail for 3 years back in 2019.
That's a wild first 13 seconds. What the fuck? What? He produced genetically altered babies. Bro broke the Full Metal Alchemist pact, dude. The full... Like, the biggest taboo, human transmutation, oh my god.
After being released, he would somewhat disappear for a while until he got access to social media, most namely Twitter. And in classic supervillain fashion, he would tweet out,
Every pioneer or prophet... What?
Every pioneer or prophet must suffer while staring intently at the camera, all while continuing his genetic research like nothing had happened. This would, of course, make him go viral, but...
Gene editing pioneer, period. 3 years in prison. Like, what? What a Twitter bio, dude. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Didn't he say that every pioneer must... by his definition, wouldn't he must suffer? I don't get it. This is a lot. We're only 30 seconds in.
His genetic research like nothing had happened. This would, of course, make him go viral, but what were people's reactions here? Were they shocked? Were they outraged? Were they scared? No, they kept spamming him.
He suffered 3 years in prison? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, I see. All right, he's making a commentary. He's saying that because I'm a pioneer, I suffered, right? Okay, I see.
Pestering him even with one request. Eventually, there will be so many people requesting the same thing that he had to make an entire post.
I thought he was like threatening them. He's like, "I'm gonna get you one day, Jesus." You know? I thought that's what it was.
Responding to it, saying, "Stop asking for cat girls. I'm trying to cure disease."
What? Wait, what? Why did he post a picture of himself too? Like, so yeah, take the shot, man. I'm gonna just stand like this. Yeah, you got it. All right, cool. Tell them to stop asking for cat girls. Like,
this dude was sentenced to jail for creating genetically modified babies and forging the ethical paperwork. But the only thing people were concerned with was cat girls. Yeah, I mean, it comes as no surprise, guys. Anime girls have taken over the world. But look, if the movie Ratatouille has taught me anything in life, it's that things are better when combined together. And so some of the most intelligent people on planet Earth saw cats and thought, wow, this is really cute and adorable, like anime girls. Why don't we combine them and create cat girls?
True.
The result? A massive success. This, of course, made even more people think, until a particular group of people came up with a very interesting idea. They thought, well, look, humans love cats, right? I'm sure they love dogs too, but what's one animal that's been with us since the beginning? An animal humans share a very important bond with.
Horses.
Horses.
Yes.
So listen to this genius idea, right? What if we took anime girls and gave them horse ears and horse tails?
Yes.
Then we would put all these cute anime horse girls together on a track and have them race just like horses do during horse races.
That'd
But get this, okay? Things don't end here, because these horse girls are living a double life. When they're not racing on the horse track, they're idols, dancing and singing in top-tier performances to a massive audience. Sounds absolutely insane, right? I mean, seriously, horse girls, anime horse girls racing on a track. You've got to be shitting me, man. The concept of...
That is absolutely the most ridiculous concept. It's just literally, what if we take idols? A lot of weebs like idols. And what if we take horse races, which I'm a big fan of, and let's just smash them together? And that's like literally Umamusume. And somehow it worked. Somehow it worked.
Gacha games is already niche, and horse girls in a gacha game, you won't find anyone to play this. Nope, I was severely wrong. Look at this chart just on Steam, with a peak of 87,000 people playing at the same time.
We
That's
won,
not all, though.
boys.
The game hasn't even been out for 1 month globally and has already reached over 1 million downloads on the Google Play Store.
Won.
Still not surprised? The game has gotten so popular on Steam that it has beaten every single game on the platform to claim the #1 spot for most downloaded games in this current period. Now you might be
Let's
thinking,
go,
okay, fine,
dude.
maybe it's like this mass hysteria going on. Maybe this concept is so ridiculous people downloaded it, but then realized, it's not really for me, right? Look at these reviews, 94%.
I didn't even, wait, is that still there? Maybe it's bad now because of like Kita-san Black, Umamusume. Okay, I don't think you guys can see it, but that's like 21,000 very positive reviews, 93%. So we're down by 1%. That's kind of crazy. And if you guys didn't know too, just to give you a little more context, we have this revenue report. Umamusume Pretty Derby got up to top 4. Top 4. $33 million. $33 million. And apparently from iOS and Android global, they combined did 21 million, which is more than double what Japan spent, and every other region is just totally swept by it. Every other region, like global, just went absolutely nuts. And you would think like, oh, I mean, of course it's global, but not really. Like Umamusume was like topping charts or like being top 20, top 10 with JP. I remember getting those values with just JP, but the fact that it just like doubles it is their debut launch, but still, that's like crazy. And Steam is not counted. Yeah, this does not include Steam. This does not include Steam, and a lot of the Western player base is also on Steam. There is a lot of approximations with this site, obviously, but it uses those same approximations with every one of these games. So, you know, relatively scale-wise, it should be roughly the same. But yeah, this is really nuts. What's Love in Deep Space? We don't talk about Love in Deep Space here. Love in Deep. We don't talk about Love in Deep Space. You'll figure it out. You'll find it out. Anyway.
Very positive with almost 15,000 reviews on Steam. This game didn't just get downloaded a lot, it's now critically acclaimed. But if you're still somehow not shocked yet, well, get this. Gacha games are typically liked by a very specific demographic.
Look, I'm not this guy anymore. My head's shaved.
Young adults who usually love anime. When it came to this horse girl gacha racing game though, it reached children, their parents, and their grandparents, doing the impossible and targeting every single conceivable demographic.
Let's
Guys,
go.
it doesn't matter where you go. The metro, the airport, your office, you will most likely see someone playing this on their phone. I say this with...
Is that true? I don't go outside, so I actually don't know. But I know in Japan that's true. I know in Japan that's 100% true, but like over here, I don't know about that. That would be absolutely nuts. That would be absolutely nuts.
No exaggeration. Umamusume Pretty Derby has...
I mean, the thing is, the game is just so easy to play on your phone, right? That's the reason why I really liked it and why I stuck with it for so long, is because like it's vertical aspect ratio, right? It's like I don't have to look like a dweeb playing a phone game outside, right? I could kind of just sneak around and play it like and look like a normal person. That's why I played it. It was like really easy. It was really cool. It was very convenient too, you know? It's very also just easy to play. You could pause and start a gameplay whenever you want, right? And it's not real time. It's just a really easy, convenient, fun game to play, and that's why I started it 4 years ago and kept playing it up till today. You know, yeah, it's sick. It's really, really convenient.
taken over the planet. And I haven't seen a gacha game do this since Genshin Impact back during the pandemic. But if this still doesn't shock you for whatever reason, then get ready to get sucker punched in the face, because that's exactly what happened to me when I started seeing headlines like this.
Damn. Umamusume developer Cygames is a title sponsor for the Grand Prix de Paris.
Umamusume developer Cygames is a title sponsor for Grand Prix de Paris, a prestigious horse race.
Grand Prix de Paris. Okay, there you go. I got it. I could be French.
Racing event founded in 1863. An event being held for almost 2 centuries. And their logo just happens to be on an image of an anime girl that is also a horse.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. That's perfect.
What the fuck is going on, and how did we get here? Well, none of it was straightforward, and this game almost failed to release. Umamusume Pretty Derby has a somewhat chaotic but also very interesting history, and seeing how it's practically dominated the world, I figured we need to talk about it, so let's do this. Man, horses are such silly animals, but you know what other animals I like? Warships, warplanes, and war tanks, baby. Yep. And the best part about this is that I can find all—
You know what? This would be cool if they were anime girls. Just saying.
All these vehicles and 2,000—
There is Girls in Panzer. I don't think there's a girls, like, plane game, but there is Kankore, too.
500 other variations in War Thunder.
Oh, Azure Lane. Azure Lane is the boomer Kankore, and Kankore is ancient, more ancient than that.
Vehicle combat game so comprehensive in details that it has over 70 million players on all platforms, including PC, consoles, and mobile devices. These vehicles are as detailed as possible, and they span multiple eras.
Yeah, they don't look like your silly anime women.
You can then customize these vehicles to your liking. This leads us to my favorite thing about War Thunder, the fact that there are no simple hitboxes. Every vehicle has engines, fuel tanks, weapons, and crew. That's the level of detail we're dealing with here.
Oh, that's kind of crazy.
But wait, it gets better, because if you're a new player or a returning player who hasn't played the game in over 6 months, you get free premium vehicles, 100,000 Silver Lions, 7 days of premium account, and much more, available for PC and consoles. So if you're interested, make sure to get the game for free by clicking the link in the description or the pinned comment. Thank you so much, War Thunder, for sponsoring this video. Alright guys, by now, you know the drill. To really understand the significance of all this, we need context, and in this case, it's going to be a little history lesson. And we're going all the way back to the year 1603, the beginning of the Tokugawa period, otherwise known as the Edo period.
Yeah, if you didn't know, Umamusume came from that period. They actually dreamt of horse anime woman ever since back then.
This period would be the most traditional period in Japan, mostly because it would be incredibly isolated from the rest of the world. The people in power at the time feared outside influence. In fact, their biggest fear was Christianity. You'd have missionaries from European countries come in to spread the gospel, and people were converting fast. The Japanese leaders saw this as a way for Europe to slowly take control of Japan, so they took extreme measures.
This is crazy. That artwork is kind of nuts. Like, just seeing the whole mix of it, it feels like, I don't know, like not real.
They completely locked down the country except for a select few traders who only had access to specific ports. Japanese people were not allowed to leave Japan, and if they did, they wouldn't be allowed back. And more importantly, Christianity was outlawed. The shogunate took extreme measures and massacred over 37,000 Japanese Christians, making it go almost extinct in Japan and ruling for over 2 centuries. This would all change in 1868, when the Tokugawa shogunate would lose its power and the Meiji Restoration would take its place.
And then after that, horse girls came to save Japan.
You could say that this period was the opposite of the Tokugawa shogunate's military rule, completely opening up the country, technologically advancing very quickly, and fully embracing the idea of an industrialized nation that can compete with Europe and North America. That way, they don't face the threat of colonization. During this new era, you'd start seeing more foreigners in Japan, like British and Americans, specifically around port towns. Their numbers would start becoming significant to the point where they'd start having their own communities built around those port towns. This
Okay.
is where, to kill time, Westerners would start playing the sports they knew, like rugby, cricket, and of course, baseball, which is now
baseball. What other sport? It's kind of surprising that Japan didn't really take like basketball, but baseball is really old, right, for an American sport, I guess. So I guess that makes sense. And then horse racing. I'm just wondering like what other American sport is like for whatever reason highly regarded in Japan. But yeah, baseball is crazy.
the most popular sports.
Baseball is incredibly popular, and how I know it's popular. I guess it's not really that big of a deal. But if I used to watch a lot of Niji Sanji. Niji Sanji is a VTuber agency, right? I used to watch a lot of Niji Sanji. What I loved about watching Niji Sanji, I know they have a bad reputation. I know they don't really treat their creators that well, whatever. But before all that bullshit came on, they would gather every year to play this baseball simulation game, and that shit was peak, dude. That shit was hype. I love that shit. I used to drink like I would just like buy a whole thing of beer and just watch it by myself in my own house alone and watch that shit getting drunk off beer. That shit was peak. Okay, that was fun. That was fun. It was fun. It sounds so sad. It sounds incredibly sad. But like it was really hype. Okay, it was really cool. But yeah, baseball is really popular.
In Japan today. But according to the 500-page book titled Routledge Companion to Sports History, which outlines the origins of sports all around the world, horse racing in Japan was introduced as early as 1862 by those same Westerners. And within just 8 years, the first jockey club in Kobe was formed in 1870. You see, the Japanese, much like the rest of the world, also had a special connection to horses. They also loved the idea of entertainment. So they latched onto the sport very quickly, as you can see from this old drawing. Japanese people are on their horses about to race, but the people organizing it can be seen on the left here. And they're foreigners, they're Westerners. Today, it's seen as a prestigious sport, with the Japan Cup having...
That's so funny that the jockeys had like this very proper, at the time, Japanese haircut. Whatever the fuck that hairstyle is. What is that called? Like this one weird ponytail that curls from the back and is looped over in the front. They're all in there. They're all wearing like the robes, right? Why do they got swords? Why they got? Are they playing like Twisted Metal? Are they like slashing at people that try to pass them? Wait, why do they have swords? The top knots? Oh, are these whips? Oh, okay. They slash the horse. Bro, like, oh, they're whips, okay. Bro, no, like, they're Japanese, so I thought they had, like, katanas, dude. I thought they were, like, trying to, like, dude. Yo, Twisted Metal horse racing would actually be incredibly sad, but, still would go pretty hard.
And they're foreigners, they're Westerners. Today, it's seen as a prestigious sport, with the Japan Cup having some of the highest prize pools on the planet, and the Japanese taking the sport very seriously, wanting to compete on even footing with...
That's actual goo-goo babies with your life on the line.
foreign horses. Right now, the prize pool for the Japan Cup is about $8.3 million, with first place claiming $3.8 million. And even though horse racing was seen as such an important sport in Japan, there was a problem. Interest was kind of waning. When you go to a horse track, you'd mostly see men who are in the older demographics. You
fuck men.
Wouldn't see teenagers, young adults, kids, or even women that much. In a way, if things kept
we need to fix that.
Going this way, then the sport would have probably died out in a couple of generations. It was simply seen as too old-fashioned. But all of this would change when a particular
the anime horse girls will come onto the scene.
Particular studio came up with a ridiculous idea. An idea, actually, that almost ruined their company's reputation and potentially could have bankrupted them. I'm of course talking about Umamusume Pretty Derby. Cyber Agent is a Japanese company that was founded in 1998. They started out as a digital advertising company, but in 2011, they decided to expand in the ever-growing video game market. This is when they would create Cygames, a video game development studio. Cyber Agent would own the majority of the shares of Cygames, but sell a few to other companies, like for example, Nintendo, who owns 5% of Cygames. They would go on to create some pretty well-received games.
Hey! I used to cover that game. I used to cover the... Oh my god! Oh, it said Grimnir. Okay, I thought it was talking about a content creator there. Anyway.
Like Shadowverse, a digital collectible card game, and of course, Grand Blue Fantasy, which was critically acclaimed. But arguably, Cygames' most important game would end up being one of the first ones they'd ever release in 2011, titled The Idolmaster Cinderella Girls.
Wait, what about Rage of Bahamut? I mean, I guess Idolmaster probably has a bigger arcade presence. That makes sense. Right? That makes sense. They made Idolmaster. Yep, they made Idolmaster. They made Rage of Bahamut, which I guess people don't remember, but that was like one of the very early phone games too. They had a lot. They had a lot of different games.
This game would be a part of the massive franchise known as the Idolmaster, owned by Bandai Namco, with the first ever game coming out in 2005. Many games for this franchise would release, and in 2011, that's when Cygames would release the Idolmaster Cinderella Girls. They made this on behalf of Bandai Namco.
Oh, never mind. I guess they only made the Cinderella Girls stuff, which makes sense. And I feel like Cinderella Girls really was way more popular than any of the other stuff. But I can only say that anecdotally, because I just never really interacted with Idolmaster before Cinderella Girls. So I guess that would speak to the level of influence Cygames had over the project. I think that makes a lot of sense. The fact that, I don't know, I was able to get into it without knowing anything about the other Idolmasters. Yeah, Cinderella Girls is crazy.
What was special about this game is that it was made for mobile phones back in 2011. Namco was seeing the rise of mobile games, and so that's when they asked Cygames to help. The premise was simple. You'd collect a...
Yeah, I remember this game. That does... Why are we zooming in on that? Why are we doing that?
A bunch of idol girls, and you would train them, raising their stats through lessons. You would then be able to do a number of things, like customize their outfits and even spend money on cosmetics. There would also be many different minigames.
I don't think this is... Is this all the same game? Hold up, I don't remember these. I guess so. It says Idolmaster Cinderella Girls.
Including a multiplayer game mode where you can fight other players. The player with the most stats wins. Overall, it was simple, but extremely successful. This game was earning more than 1 billion yen a month. Back then, that was around $13 million. It was revealed that more than 75% of players who got the game chose to pay for either in-game items or energy in order to play more. And according to this article, in August 2012, the game had made 9 million USD, which is more than the cost of developing the game. This game was making more money monthly than it cost to make. And all it did was just feature a bunch of idols that you trained, upped their stats, and got them different outfits. But you see, Bandai Namco is truly taking this franchise to the next level. It started as an arcade game, they made a mobile game, and they...
Yeah, all these characters were so popular. I don't remember all of their names. I know one of them's Honda, but I remember all these characters.
Also made a manga as well as an anime that adapted that same manga. They were essentially using this franchise to build a media empire, and it was working very damn well. They would continue to hire more developers to create more entries in this franchise, and the most recent release would be in 2024, so it's still doing pretty damn well.
I don't know what that is. Gakuen Idolmaster. Okay.
This is when Cygames would have some sort of an epiphany. Even though this was owned by Bandai Namco, they were the ones who made this extremely successful game. And I mean, it made sense. Why wouldn't a game like that be a success? The idol industry in Japan...
Yo, that's Zenless Zone Zero right there.
...and is probably one of the biggest, most successful industries in entertainment. It involved finding someone young with talent, absolutely destroying their lives with ridiculously rigid training and extremely unrealistic expectations, and once they get enough popularity, this is when you would milk their fans with a bunch of different media and merchandise.
Let's
People will
go,
do anything
exploitation!
For their idols. They'll literally buy a photo album of them, okay? This is why the idol industry is such a money-printing machine. But here's a fun fact for you. When it comes to horse racing in the West, certain jockeys, who are the horse riders, might have fans, sure. The horses that they ride also might have fans, but it wasn't anything crazy. In Japan, on the other hand,
Dude, I need these. I need these horse plushies. They're so cute. They're so adorable.
The horses.
I want these plushies, like, for whatever reason, more than I want, like, Umamusume plushies. These are really cute, and they're so, like, good quality.
Had fans, all right. They had their own merch. They were recognized by name. Some even had superstitions made around them. I mean, this is just a talent Japanese people have to idolize anything they like. And as much as this sounded...
I don't know. Okay, so I don't know. He didn't go over the superstition, but I think the superstition he's talking about was with Haru Urara. Did she make it to Arima Kinen? Was that what it was? But basically, a lot of people bet on Haru Urara because it was seen as good luck, right? It was just seen as good luck or like good fortune to bet on the surefire loser of the horse of that race. He's gonna cover it later? Okay.
Sounded ridiculous, there was big market potential here. Cygames had made a very successful idle game, and yet horse racing was a deeply historical aspect of Japanese culture. While
this is so cool. Goldship had so many fans even before like Uma Musume,
also having those same idle traits. You know what else is interesting? When it comes to entertainment, the idol industry is very profitable, sure, but one thing Japanese people love to do is gamble, baby.
I don't get this, dude. I don't get pachinko. I mean, I guess I get it in that like it's like the only way they can gamble, but I guess that's what it is.
A Japanese person not knowing pachinko is like an American not knowing what a burger is. At this point, it's practically cultural. I mean, look, it goes without saying that horse racing was very popular in Japan.
I mean, how can anyone kind of like judge or knock pachinko? Like when we have like various forms of gambling in the States or whatever, right? It's whatever. It's all the same.
Japan because of the whole gambling aspect of it, and now you can gamble on a simulated horse race. It's not even real, and you place your bets on this spaceship-looking machine, bro. This looks insane.
It looks so fun, dude. I used to see this on like Dave and Buster's, right? Dave and Buster's, like arcades in the States. Not these ones specifically. This is probably way more, but like they had similar games. I think Derby Owners Club was one of them. Those looked so fun, and I always wanted to kind of understand what that game was all about, but I never got to. I never actually like tried to figure it out. I only played like 1 or 2 sessions every now and then, I remember. But it's something you have to keep up, and you have to like play quite a bit.
That's how much they love it. And finally, just like how idols and gambling are huge in the entertainment industry in Japan, we can't forget to talk about
Derby Owners Club at Dave & Buster's is what started this addiction. It was expensive, I bet.
Anime. And in the early 2000s, many artists were having the amazing idea of giving anime girls cat ears or just small animal features. Not to mention that there were already examples in media taking this a step further. Instead of giving them animal features, they would give them features of objects. Like how the game Azur Lane has you collect these hot anime women that are meant to be World War II battleships. I'm not even joking, bro. Look, this woman's called Azuma, and she's part of the large cruiser category.
Oh, she large.
She's stationed in the camp Sakura Islands. This is meant to be a battleship, bro, like an actual boat. Do you understand? And man, does she have some big cannons? Let me tell you that much. I don't know who the genius at Cygames was, bro. It could be the CEO. It could be a producer. Someone had the brilliant idea to sit everyone down and say, hey, what if we combined all these elements together, right? For the gambling, we make a gacha game. For the anthropomorphic cat girl part, we make horse girls. And for the idol part, we base them off the most famous horses in Japan, while also making them sing and dance, because why not? Now, be honest, if you were one of those people listening to this pitch, would you have signed off on this? Because it obviously sounds ridiculous, right? Most people probably wouldn't have. But Cygames had top-tier drugs in their office because you know what? They said yes. They then wasted no time.
Bro, it can't be, it's not that big of a stretch, right? As long as, especially if you're in Japan, you know, like anime is fucking nuts, right? That it's crazy, right? They have like huge, I guess city blocks. I don't even know, right? But Akihabara, right? It's like it's a huge cultural phenomenon, and it's global. It's absolutely global.
Time getting started on developing the game, revealing it for the first time on the 21st of August 2016 at the Anime Japan Expo.
before it to take over global is wild. Oh, absolutely. I'm just talking about to milk the Japanese fans, right? To milk the Japanese fans is like, yeah, of course this would work, right? For it to work in global, yeah, that was crazy.
Excitement for this game was actually already starting to build up, and that made more people want to know more details about Umamusume. So on January 2017, the main content producer of Cygames, Akihiro Ishihara, was asked a bunch of different questions during an interview, and one of them was, please tell us about the development status. And he said, this game is about 25% complete. Keep that number in mind. But for now, this interview had also
Air
revealed
Groove, Madazensky,
many of the
Fuji
horse girl
Kiseki.
designs, as well as the famous horses they're based on. It seemed like they
There's
knew
a
what they
lot.
were doing. And they had learned their lessons with Bandai Namco. They were going the Idolmaster route, not just aiming to make one good game, they wanted to make a media empire around Umamusume. So just a couple months after that interview in March 2017, they released a manga. But they weren't done yet because they wanted to adapt this manga into an anime and were going to enlist the studio PA Works to do it. The plan was to release this anime in 2018 in parallel to the game's release. That way both would help each other and they would start off with a strong symbiotic media empire. That was the plan, except nothing, and I mean nothing in regards to release dates went according to plan. The Umamusume Pretty
Right, I don't know if he mentions it. He might mention it later, but that's like their plan with pretty much anything, right? That was their plan with Cinderella Girls, right? That was their plan with Grand Blue Fantasy. Or rather, they decided after the game, right, to start producing an anime. Shadowverse 2, pretty much, right? They did eventually make a Shadowverse anime. So their strategy for making a new IP is usually to just attack it across various different plans of media, forms of media. It is a plan. It was definitely a plan.
Derby anime would release on April 1st, 2018. It wasn't just limited to Japan, it had a simulcast with Crunchyroll in select regions of the world. It was almost an instant success. Similarly to how people love the idea of cat girls, the idea of horse girls was also very well received. But a couple of aspects that it was really praised for were, one, its attention to detail, and two, its very skilled world building. But we'll get to that later. Right now, there's a more pressing concern going on.
I mean, what got me was Silent Suzuka. Silent Suzuka's story was like, damn, dude. Or like the way they just did it, the way they executed that moment in this first season was just like, what the fuck? What just happened? Right? It was so good. It was so shocking. And I was like, dang, this is cool. And like, yeah, the world building, the very subtle details, it all brought it together. And so I decided to try out the game eventually.
As the anime was running, the game would release 3 more teasers on April 19th. It showcased a race, a live show, and a story/training section. I can't show you those videos because they've been privated, but overall, it seemed like everything was going according to plan, with the game scheduled to release around the end of 2018. This would be confirmed again on July 2018, with yet another trailer showing off the game and its mechanics, announcing at the end that it was going to release at the end of 2018. As people were waiting, wondering when the game was going to come out, Cygames took their sweet time and only announced on December 15th, 2018, literally the end of the year, that Umamusume Pretty Derby has been delayed in order to raise the game's quality, saying that they will reveal the new release period at a later date.
That's a good move too, because when the game came out, I was shocked by just how well it ran, how good it looked, how cool the animations were. It was the best gacha animations out on the market. And this was around the same time as Genshin Impact, right? So yeah.
I mean, okay, not a big deal. I mean, it would have been nice if you told us earlier, but one delay doesn't hurt, especially if the game's going to be better for it, right? Well, the game got delayed again in 2019. And the new release date was slated to be in 2020. Now, Cyber Agent is a publicly listed company, and just like any publicly listed company, they would have shareholder meetings. So in their third quarter shareholder meeting, just like any publicly listed company, they would have shareholder meetings. So in their third quarter shareholder meeting in 2020, they re-emphasized to their investors that Umamusume Pretty Derby was going to be released in 2020, confirming that fact. Just a couple of months earlier, in May 2020, the managing director of Cygames confirmed yet again that Umamusume Pretty Derby was releasing in 2020. But then we got to December 2020 and the game was nowhere to be found. But yet again, in the final shareholder meeting of the year on December 12th, investors would be told that this game is still on track to release in 2020, but there were 2 weeks left in the year. It was safe to say that after previous delays, people weren't just thinking, oh, this game's going to be delayed again. They were also thinking, is this game ever going to release? How can you say in an interview in the beginning of 2017 that the game's almost 25% done with a 2018 release date, and yet here we are 2 years later, barely able to make the release? Usually this means that the game has no direction, that Cygames is dealing with an internal disaster. And what really reinforced this narrative is the fact that the game didn't even come out in 2020. We had reached 2021 and the game still had not released yet. It was only on February 24th, 2021 that the game had finally released in Japan. And while it was cool that the game had finally come out, people didn't really know whether to be excited or worried, especially with how Cyberpunk
I didn't know this game was developed on Unity. That's an interesting fact.
2077 had released just a couple months earlier, and even though it's been delayed multiple times, had one of the worst launches in history. But you know what? As hard as it was to believe, this was not the case with Umamusume Pretty Derby. People were so addicted to the damn thing, they couldn't stop playing. The gameplay loop definitely took inspiration from their work on Idolmaster. Your horses, or horse anime girls, would have 5 different stats that you would train them on. You'd also have many different minigames and many ways to interact with your roster. You would then have your horse, or horse girl, race, competing against others in a bid to win first place. These races would make your heart beat like crazy because there was always a chance that one of the horse girls could use a special ability, including your own, like you're seeing right here. You could be losing a race, and then your horse will all by themselves decide to do this in order to win. It just depends on their mood and how you've treated them. One could even say that this was more exciting than IRL horse racing thanks to all these factors. But the game wasn't over with just one horse girl. Eventually that horse girl would retire, just like IRL horses, kicking off the inheritance mechanic just like real life. Here's an example. This is the family tree of the very famous horse, Goldchip. As you can see, this is probably more complex than my own family tree, and I'm a human. It rivals the family tree of like some royalty from the 1600s or something. This is all done with the goal of creating the most genetically engineered monster that can dominate any race. And that's what you kind of do in Uma Musume as well. The hard work that you put into your now retired horse girl can now be incorporated into your new horse girl by using her as one of her coaches. So in a way, you also become more of a genetic scientist and try to create the perfect horse girl after many different runs. This gameplay loop was so addicting, it was like playing a civilization game, screaming one more turn as the police is confiscating your phone from you because you haven't eaten in 3 days. People couldn't stop playing it. But as this game became so popular in Japan, it started somewhat suffering from success, you could say. You see, usually, the people who own some of the best racehorses in the world happen to be some very wealthy and successful people. Seeing that Uma Musume's characters are based on real-life horses, they had to go and ask each of these owners their permission to have them in the game.
Oh, he might be talking about Saiyan Sky. The Yakuza get involved? Never mind.
The owners agreed to do that free of charge, not charging any money. This was seen as a very cool and kind gesture from them. But here's the thing, these weren't just horses, these were anime girls that were in many cases pretty. And usually when you present Japan with a pretty anime girl, they will instinctively almost want to draw some pretty lewd fan art. That was a problem. Cygames knew it was a problem, so they created very specific fan-created content guidelines, outlining rules, saying you can't make fan art with the intent to injure the reputation of this franchise or other third parties. You can't do any lewd stuff, you can't do any violent stuff. The owners of these horses did not want to see their horses participate in anything like that. It was a red line for them, but that didn't necessarily make people want to listen. Now, of course, usually if you were to break these rules, Cygames would just send you a takedown notice and sue you if you don't comply. But of course, this would be too boring for a franchise like Uma Musume. So some people came up with a rumor that now is regarded as truth in many different circles and has spread like wildfire. If you draw any lewd art of Uma Musume girls, the Yakuza will knock on your door and hurt you. Okay, so as far as I can tell, this all started with this stupid tweet. A Japanese...
Wait, I've never seen this.
person tweeted this out, saying, the reason why Japanese artists can't draw Umamusume porno art is that Umamusume is based on real racehorses and their owners are like mafia bosses who control the Japanese economy and we don't want to offend them. This was tweeted on March 11th, 2021, so very shortly after the game released. Now, I don't know how much attention this initial tweet got, but what really brought attention to this was the second tweet this person would make, saying, please retweet as much as you can for people overseas. It included that original tweet and another image, with that person saying, the content of the tweet and the image is complete bullshit. It is a falsehood that amounts to defamation of the racehorse owners. I have insulted the owners of racehorses and other people involved in horse racing, as well as the staff of the Umamusume project. Racehorse owners are people who are sincerely committed to the culture of horse racing. They are not involved in antisocial organizations. In addition, I tried to make overseas artists complicit in the prohibition of secondary works that significantly worsen the image of the project, which is clearly stated in the official guidelines. This is all due to my short-sightedness and arrogance. I would like to express my deepest apologies to everyone involved and to all those who have supported me.
Wait, this is so funny. This is so funny because it's kind of ironic in a way, right? Because he first decided to spread a rumor that the Yakuza would come get you if you draw porn of the Umamusume, the horses. And now, like, this almost feels like there's a gun pointing to his head. He was forced to make this statement such that, like, yo, they're not actually gonna get you guys. The Yakuza got him. Bro. That's a gun or a lawyer. Yeah, I mean, realistically a lawyer, but it's still like he still got strong-armed into doing this, right? Which is still just very, I would say it's pretty amusing. I think it's pretty funny, but
so this apology was definitely overkill to the initial tweet. It was clearly like some kind of a joke, I guess. It was almost like this person had, I don't know, murdered someone. This made people assume that this person got caught by the Yakuza and forced, right, at gunpoint to make this apology, because that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
As you can see here, the top comment is, so they found you. And the person said, no, it's not. It's just that I made the wrong statement. Someone else said, I'm guessing they gave you a call. To which this person said, no, it doesn't. Someone said, I'm sorry to hear that the racehorse mafia got to you. Had no idea Japan even had such an intense culture of racehorsing, let alone one run by gangsters. Then that person replied with, please don't tell us such bullshit. This person was
this guy probably just made all this shit up. It's really funny though. He got him.
So easy to troll. And this eventually got posted on Reddit, ironically saying, turns out old-fashioned Yakuza are alive and well in Japanese horse racing industry. They are sending goons to stop doujin artists from making drawings of Umamusume project characters. All of these events have resulted in this becoming a full-fledged meme. Whenever someone mentions, man, I'd love to draw these characters in lewd poses, someone always comes in and comments, hey man, you don't want to do that, the Yakuza's gonna get you. And while it's funny, it's gotten a lot of people to actually believe it, especially overseas. But the truth is that Yakuza doesn't own any of the horses and that gambling is heavily regulated by the JRA, the Japanese Racing Association. So no, if you draw lewd art, the Yakuza aren't going to knock on your door, but you might get a DMCA notice from a lawyer. But regardless, Yakuza hiccups aside, this game was making bank.
Money.
In 2021 alone. Even though they released 1 month after the year had began in February, they had made over $1 billion.
Yeah.
And by March 2025, they had...
I think I have this in my video. I'm wondering if he's going to show it, but let's see if he shows it.
Made a total of $2.5 billion since release. This is an insane amount of money, but what's even more insane is that 90% or more of its revenue came purely from Japan. Cygames had the Japanese population in its chokehold. And as I mentioned, these weren't just young adults. There would be endless stories of people going on the metro, going to a restaurant, going outside, and seeing someone way older than them or way younger than them playing this game on their phone. It became cultural. But here's the thing. Japan, even though open to the rest of the world, still has a very particular market. Just because something is successful there does not mean in any way that it'll be successful anywhere else, especially when it comes to the topic of gacha games. So when it came to finally launching the game globally on June 26, 2025, more than 4 years after launching it in Japan, people didn't really know what to expect. It was reasonable to think that it was going to just die out in a few months, with Japan continuing to be its main revenue source.
That's 100% what I thought. when I first made my video, I 100% thought this game would just kind of fall on deaf ears. I would make one video about it and see what happens. And, you know, luckily it did do very well. And it's crazy. It's absolutely insane.
Except what it did was inconceivable. It was absolutely dominating the Steam charts. As you saw in the intro, it became the #1 most downloaded game on Steam at some point, also becoming an instant success on mobile. But what's really interesting here is that it managed to recreate exactly what happened in Japan, but globally, which was not having a target demographic, reaching everyone equally.
That's the thing. It's just like, I never thought that people would be into it because, one, people in the West aren't that into anime girls. Like, anime is still like, it is more mainstream, but it's like, you know, the type of anime that's mainstream. It's like stuff like Attack on Titan or My Hero Academia, right? Or Demon Slayer. Those are the mainstream anime. It's not like cute girls doing cute things, right? That's very niche, right? There is a fan base for it, but it's niche. And it's like, with Umamusume, it's so intertwined into it. The fact that they're cute girls and that they're idols, right? It does have a lot of cool shonen stuff too, obviously, and that's why I think a lot of people are really into it. But it's you just I don't think anyone really expected or could have expected people to get over that hump, that weirdness about it, right? Which is crazy.
A fun example, Northernlion is a streamer who's 36 years old. He would not in any way be the target demographic of a game like Umamusume Pretty Derby. No way in hell. But his chat kept pestering him, please download the game, give it a shot, for the love of God, you'll love it. And eventually, he gave in. Now, Northernlion is a pretty big streamer. He'll usually average around 15,000 viewers. But when he streamed Umamusume, he had reached his all-time peak of 40,000 live viewers.
Damn.
And you know what the craziest part is? He absolutely loved it, okay? He fell in love with the game, the characters, everything. He even had Japanese players seeing some of the reactions from Western players thinking, wow, we gotta up our game because these guys are way more passionate than us. Look at this.
Come on, Gold Ship, put it into high gear. I need all you got right now. The Kentucky Derby's on the line.
Bro's whipping himself.
Come on!
It was, with no exaggeration, taking over the entire internet. And it showed in the stock price of Cyber Agent, the parent company of Cygames, with its stock market price going up like crazy. But why is that? How is this game such a success, so highly rated, both in Japan and overseas? We've established that the gameplay loop is fun, sure, but there are a lot of games like that. This isn't just a game at this point, it's a cultural phenomenon.
It's a different game though. It is a different game fundamentally, right? Like to pretty much anything else. It's different from even Monster Rancher. It's different from Idolmaster. It is just this weird mix that works so well, so weirdly, but it does.
So what was something that it did that other games weren't even close to achieving? Well, the horses. Alright, so remember how I mentioned that this game's anime was praised for having immense attention to detail and world building? Well, the game...
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me cut really quick, okay? Because I don't know if he mentioned it. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I'm dumb. But like, last night, Umamusume, this is Cygames' revenue chart. This is Cygames' mobile game revenue share from 2021 February to 2024. This teal, this thing, that's Umamusume. This whole thing is Umamusume. The next thing is Princess Connect Redive. The next thing is Grand Blue Fantasy. The next thing is Shadowverse. And then everything else is whatever. This whole thing is Umamusume. And this is only a game that is in Japan. This is like their best title. This is crazy. This is actually crazy, okay? That their one game was 72% of their entire revenue share for their mobile games.
Close to achieving? Well, the horses. Alright, so remember how I mentioned that this game's anime was praised for having immense attention to detail and world building? Well, the game was very similar in that regard too. Seeing that all these anime horse girls were based on real-life horses, Cygames did their homework and examined every single horse and its very specific personality, incorporating all these aspects into their anime character. But that's not all. When it comes to the world of Umamusume, many things in there were based on real-life locations, like racetracks and areas around it. We're talking anything from train stations to the convenience store where the horse girls buy their carrots.
I didn't know that. Dang.
Wasn't just attention to detail, this was making landmarks out of IRL locations and attributing important history to them. Additionally, this world wasn't just made in like one evening. It made sense, and that's because its world building was very well made. Horse girls in this world are seen as a different type of species.
That's really funny, actually. I never really looked into that, or like even the first time he showed it, I'm just realizing what this is.
They're treated as well as humans, there's no discrimination, and instead they have a real place in this world.
They get to run at higher speeds than cars?
With certain gadgets, for example, made specifically for them. Look at this extremely long phone. It's to accommodate her horse ear and her mouth. I mean, look at this stupid seat right here. It's made specifically for horse girls so that they don't get uncomfortable with their tails. There's even historical landmarks in the anime, like how there are moai statues on Easter Island with horse girls. They even took famous Japanese horse racing paintings and converted them to accommodate the world. As you
That's wild. What? Wait.
famous Japanese horse racing paintings and converted
That's really funny. That is really funny.
converted them to accommodate the world. As you can see, these are horse girls racing here. So from a world point of view, this already made sense. The attention to detail was there. And so when it came to the actual personalities of each horse, guys, they couldn't have done a better job. For
True.
example, one of the most famous horses in Japanese racehorsing history is Goldship. This is a
Goldship,
horse who
baby.
ran 28 races and won 13 times. An incredible record. But what really made Goldship famous is that he was an absolute diva with the ridiculously unique and rage-baiting personality. In 2015, Goldship had a total of 12 billion yen betted on him. People were confident that he would win just like he won his other races. What we got instead was the day known as the 12 billion yen incident, when he would do this. Watch.
This is perfect. So apparently, by the way, just to add some more context, this is Tosen Jordan, right? But in the anime, for whatever reason, they decided to put Air Shakur. They decided to put Tupac here.
He would simply refuse to race. Everyone would go except him. He didn't care. He just didn't feel like it, and so he didn't race, losing people 12 billion yen in bets. Now, this is how Goldship would look in the game and in general in the Umamusume universe. They would recreate the same incident in the anime series. Watch. And just so you know, they brought back the same exact woman who was casting that day to voice in the anime. Guys, the attention to detail.
You know what I thought was weird, though? I thought it was weird and kind of sad, almost, that Goldship in, like, Season 3 kept talking about, like, oh, I kept fucking up after a while. Like, there's something wrong with my brain or something. Like, I have a brain disease, and I kept fucking up and not doing things. I stopped starting correctly. I stopped doing things right. I was like, damn, dude, that sucks. Like, it was so sad. I actually bet on Goldship in this race, and the moment the race started, I was sure my ticket had turned into worthless paper. An actual Japanese user. I'm so sorry for you, dude.
Is ridiculous. So seeing that Goldship was an absolute diva, yet at the same time very skilled, Cygames made sure to incorporate that into Umamusume Pretty Derby. She'd be very skilled, very talented, and yet would have crazy mood swings, refusing to train, and sometimes, even though having the best stats, would just refuse to race, like they're not giving a single shit. This eccentric personality would so accurately be translated into the game that it would create a new overseas fan club for this IRL horse. I mean, look at this. This is a video of Goldship in retirement, literally just hanging out. It has over 2.2 million views. This is just a horse hanging out for 2 minutes, not doing anything except fooling around. That's how much of a sensation he became because of this game and his history. I mean, look, most people would have just stopped there and moved on to a different topic, but not with me, you won't. Goldship's personality wouldn't just end with him being a diva. He would also be one of the most successful breeders, with a successful mating rate of 99.1%, having over 500 children, with a few of them becoming absolute champions. In fact, according to some staff, after he would finish mating with a mare, she would then refuse to mate with anyone else but Goldship. That's just how good.
I never knew that. That's wild. That's wild.
He is, man. But I guess it also explains why he enjoyed it so much. He would swing his cucumber from side to side because of how excited he was, okay? I know this is like a ridiculous amount of detail, but people look into this. That's how obsessed they are with Goldship.
It's kind of weird that I know exactly what Goldship's looks like. I mean, come on, half of you guys know too, okay? Half of you guys know. Half of you guys know. What do you mean? It's not just me. It's not just me.
It wasn't just because he was skilled or a massive diva, he was a rage baiter. Like the whole 12 billion yen incident, but also the fact that his trainers realized that, wait a second, in his retirement, he's running even faster than he used to run back when he was still a racehorse, making them realize that he never used his full potential while being a racehorse, almost as if on purpose to spite his trainers. This made people realize that horses aren't just creatures that we share a special connection with. They also have many unique and diverse personalities. Most people have a hard time seeing that though, because we don't really interact with horses that much anymore. So turning them into anime horse girls with proper world building around them made us finally appreciate their very deep and valuable personalities. And no one received more appreciation than the horse Haru Urara. You see, when she was young, she would go unsold at an auction. Seeing that no one wanted to buy her, she was entrusted to the cheapest racecourse to run in Japan. Her trainers thought that this would be a good chance for her to maybe win since she had a hard time training.
She's so cute. And you know another horse that's really cute too? That you should... I don't know if she's still racing. But this is another horse you should watch too. I think this horse is trying to copy Haru Urara. She's copying Haru Urara's like entire vibe and getup, like for real. She only races in dirt races too. I don't know why. I feel like she's trying to copy her. Yeah. Sumomomomomomomomomo. Sumomomomomomomomo. Yeah, 2025. Crazy. But yeah, dirt races, all sprints. Totally trying to copy her. The difference is she's winning, but not too much.
But then she went on to lose 113 races in a row, never winning once. However, when she had lost her 87th race in a row, the race announcer, Koji Hashiguchi, would be absolutely shocked at this statistic. He was like, dude, this like never happens. Most horses would have given up by now. They would have retired. So he sent her racing record to national media outlets thinking, dude, this is insane. Like, you got to talk about this. And they did, which made her ridiculously famous. People started going in droves to where she raced, the Kochi racecourse. The wives of the jockeys, the people who rode the horses, took advantage of this and started making merchandise. And
where's the Kochi racecourse? I want to go to the Kochi racecourse. If I can't visit Haru Urara, because I know she's being swamped with people visiting, and I don't... Honestly, it would be kind of make me sad to like stress her out or whatever. But like the racecourse, that'd be sick.
This. At a certain point, people would go to this racecourse just to bet on Haru Urara, knowing very well that they were going to lose, but they would love that because then they'd use that betting ticket as a protective charm for car accidents. They believed that it held special powers, bro. You understand what I'm talking about here? This horse had superstitions made around it. I mean, this was such a big boom that Haru Urara had single-handedly saved the Kochi racecourse from going bankrupt. They were able to pay off all their debts thanks to her. And today, as you can see, Haru Urara is painted on the side here. That's how much of a legend she is. Seeing that she's in the game of Umamusume Pretty Derby, this prompted both Japanese and global players to select her to try and give her the win that she so very deserved in real life, making her one of the most popular characters in the game. This renewed attention from the global audience with their love for Haru Urara eventually allowed them to find out that they can send gifts to her in her retirement because she's still alive. They could send her some premium ryegrass directly. They sent 2.7 tons of ryegrass. Usually one person could buy $40 worth, which is 5 kilograms. But people crashed the donation website, and now we're sitting at 2.7 tons. This is an image of this little cutie receiving her gifts.
Aww.
And it's prompted people to draw fan art of this phenomenon. I mean, look at how much ryegrass is in front of her. She has enough food until the end times. 2.7 tons, you're insane! In fact, thanks to this game and its renewed attention on these horses and their accomplishments, many of them, who are now in retirement, are receiving many donations, able to fully enjoy their older years. This is because this game didn't just make a lot of money and renew interest in horse racing, but it has single-handedly revitalized the entire horse racing industry globally, specifically.
I'm just looking at the hot word hashtags. Okay. I'm done
In
looking at
Japan.
those.
In the world of horse racing, sometimes, unfortunately, racehorses are not able to retire. This can happen for a number of reasons, but usually it's because there's not enough funding. Back when this game released in Japan, it fueled a movement of people donating to many of these famous retired horses, ensuring that they not only live a good life, but that they can continue to live in general. But retirement isn't fun if you just have money. It's also nice when you meet people, when you still interact socially. Many of these retired racehorses started receiving visitors, so much so that Umamusume had to release an official guideline on how to visit stables and what to do in order to be respectful. For famous horses such as Haru Urara or Goldship, visits sell out immediately as soon as they're posted. This has led some crazy, ridiculous fans to sneak onto the stable grounds sometimes just to see the horses, with Cygames completely denouncing that and saying you shouldn't do that, stop.
Nope.
But that wasn't all. Cygames was making a lot of money from this game.
Ooh, Cheval Grand.
And they understood that
In Kita-san Black. What is this race?
there's a mutual benefit here. If horse racing thrives, they thrive too. And so the president of cyber agents, Susumu Fujita, has become a high roller when it comes to
Japan Cup.
buying expensive horses and raising them for races, always being one of the leading buyers when it comes to horse auctions in Japan. So far, he has spent easily over $10 million making up his own fleet of racehorses. And
You know what? Based. If I was a guy who had a ton of money, I'd buy horses just so that they could be legends and so that I could turn them into anime girls. I would do that. I understand this man's dream, his ambition.
he's not planning on stopping anytime soon. But this isn't just about Japan. This is about horse racing globally. In May of this year, they had announced a partnership with the 151st Kentucky Derby, the most watched and most attended horse race in the United States, taking place since the year 1875. And you had this anime girl horse racing game being their biggest sponsor. This also extends to Paris. As you saw in the intro, they're not just sponsoring the Grand Prix de Paris, but they're the
Grand Prix
main
de Paris.
sponsor. And I mean, look, if you show me an image of horse racing, I probably would think, oh, cool. But if I was a young person and saw a poster like this, I'd think, whoa, whatever this is, I want this. Where can I get tickets? It's an extremely mutually beneficial partnership. Additionally, racehorsing merchandise has had a boom in Japan ever since the game had come out, truly turning this into an animal idol industry. These dolls, for example, they sell out like crazy. It's actually
Wait, really? What are these anyway? Jackdaw Karate? There's someone named Karate. Rosham Pak? Kogane. I can't read fast enough. Nonra? That almost looked like Sumomo, but it didn't. Karate? I think so. Karate. Yeah.
very hard to get them, especially
Oh, Kogane no Sora. Oh, okay.
if you're outside of Asia. Actually, I think they're keychains, but you get the point. Cygames was essentially making a lot of money from this, but they were using it for good things, making this industry a better place, helping treat retired horses even better, and in general being a positive force
What would you name your horse? Baldnu.
in the community. This reminds me how at some point Hoyoverse, the creators of Genshin Impact, had invested in a nuclear fusion reactor, and in 2024 it became operational. Who would have thought that you spending money on characters in a gacha game was going to end up somehow in a nuclear fusion reactor in Singapore? Overall, this industry is revived. It's back. Audiences now feature women, young people, middle-aged people, demographics that horse racing usually wouldn't be able to reach. This has already been happening in Japan, and I'm sure it'll start happening globally thanks to this game. I can't help but laugh when I say this, but it's true. This anime girl horse racing gacha game has somehow been able to single-handedly revive this entire sport while somehow making the world a better place. It's crazy, but it's where we are today. I hope I was able to explain why this game took over the world and why it's continuing to, and I really appreciate you watching until the end. This is a fairly different video from what I usually do on my channel, but hey, I figured it would be fun. Now, the sponsor does want me to end this video with a message, so before I'll do that, I'll thank you again, say that I love you, and mwah, see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. As a reminder, you can get 100,000 Silver Lions, premium vehicles, 7 days premium account, and much more if you're a returning player that hasn't played for over 6 months, or if you're a new player in War Thunder.
Silver Lions?
Both PC and console. So click the link in the description or the pinned comment to download it for free today.
All right. We watched it. We watched the Mugen video. That was good. That was sick. That was sick. That was awesome. Holy. That was really cool. Here you go. I think that video was good. Some people were saying it was like, well, there's one guy say it was all over the place. I disagree. I think it was really good. He sets the background and sets the stage so well and ties it up all together. It's really cool. Mugen's kind of like a master at this, honestly. Very cool video. Very cool. Make sure you guys give that video a like and subscribe to Mugen. He covers like anything, dude. He talks about anything, like all these kind of niche topics, and makes it so easy to watch, makes it so accessible and like easy to understand. So it's really cool. He makes a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, anyway, leave a like and sub if you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.